Bull-NA-ChinaShop TV. Not just a YouTube channel, your main source for bull breed entertainment. I offer video services such as stud features, kennel features, and full event coverage. I also offer photography services such as puppy shoots, individual dog shoots, and full kennel shoots. You can see examples of each on any and all Bull-NA-ChinaShop social media pages. You can also see an in-depth look into my life and the American Bully lifestyle with my vlog found on the YouTube channel as well. Bull-NA-ChinaShop TV is also the home of the Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast, a real, raw, uncut podcast dedicated to the bull breeds and the American Bully lifestyle. You can find all episodes of the Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast, stud features, kennel features, event features, and all of the vlogs on youtube.com/Bull-NA-ChinaShop TV. Check it out and hit subscribe today.
I'm taking applications right now. I need more haters. Yo. What the fuck is going on? You amazing motherfuckers. And we are in a China shop back again. You want to advertise for somebody? www.advertise my shit. Bull-NA-ChinaShop.com. What the fuck is the week? Stop taking fucking pictures. We're gonna be hosted by yours truly, Todd Lonely Time. Yo. ABKC Judge, Hardbody Bullies out in East Atlanta, Georgia. The owner of national winner, grand champion ROCKSTAR, champion Sensational, and also champion Sophia, just to name a few that we have on the yard here.
Boom. Yo, as you have already heard, we've got a little bit of a guest this Wednesday, episode 58 of the Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast. Me and my man Errol, chilling, talking some shit. He's actually balls deep in the fish world down there in Atlanta. So he's changing some water in his fish tanks and shit. But I actually messaged Errol last night, and I was talking to James at ABBA, and he was showing me some pictures the other day when we were at Bent River Bully Co. And he was showing me some pictures of 2013 Nationals when we had that, what I call the closest race for Nationals best of breed ever. But that he showed me some pictures of 2013, and I was like, it just reminded me of that crazy ass weekend that we had. And I messaged Errol last night. I was like, "Yo, we got to talk about that shit. We gotta chop it up and talk about that shit." And it was crazy. It was like, I don't know. It was. We're gonna get into it. I got a couple questions to ask Mr. Bowden first. Okay, so Errol Bodden, Hard Body Bullies. This dude's been an ABKC judge since 2009, which, you know, that's a pretty long. I mean, that's a, you know, what was there, like 5 judges when you started? 6 judges when you started?
Yeah, man, it was just a handful of them, man. A lot of them are gone, and you know, a few of them still here. But yeah, it's been quite some time, man. Quite some time. You know, you asked me that question, I'm like, damn it, you know, I can't believe I've been judging that damn long, you know. But man, I wouldn't change it for the world, you know.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Do you remember who it was who was judging when you started? Who the people were?
Man, well, a few people that apprenticed me.
Had to be Ron
Rolando,
Ramos.
Yeah, once, you know, he's still here with us.
Right, Rolando, right.
Judge Ron Ramos.
Papa Pitt.
Definitely, Papa Pitt. Yes, definitely well respected in the dog community. I would say bully, but the dog community, period.
Right.
He's definitely well respected. Rest in peace, Mr. John Downing was another guy that apprenticed me. He was a real good guy. John Easterly He's actually no longer with us either. That was a funny character, though, boy. I tell you, he was definitely a character, man. And I mean, it was a lot of judges. It was another John. Can't think of his last name right now, but we had a lot of guys, man. Back then, they were doing the actual scorecard that we had, man. That was crazy, man. Just checking that out, just apprenticing other judges, man. It's a few of them that's not with us, man, and they've moved on to other breeds, got out of dogs, period, or what have you. But it's we've had a lot of good judges back then, man, and some of them are still with us, man. Lou is still with us, man. Once again, Rolando, he's still with us as well too. Just to name, just a few of them. But really good guys that was in the dog community that's no longer here with us, or just moved on to other breeds, or just not doing dogs anymore. Period.
Right. Yeah. You mentioned John Downing. That was somebody I never actually got to meet or got to apprentice under or anything like that.
Yeah.
But a mutual friend of ours, John Sweet, actually speaks very highly of everybody called him Doc Downing.
Doc Downing, yeah, that's right.
But John speaks very highly of him too. So that's
Absolutely.
interesting to hear you speak highly of him also. And
Absolutely.
Obviously Ron Ramos, been on the show, friend of the podcast. Rolando, friend of the podcast. These are guys. These are guys that are balls deep in judging and balls deep in apprenticing and bringing people in.
Yes.
And
mostly.
They've been here for years and years and years too. And I don't think people realize that, But Ron Ramos was the first one, a number one, numero uno.
Numero uno, definitely, most definitely.
What was the?
I learned a lot from that guy, man, and still to this day, man, still talk to him, almost on a daily basis, man. Real cool guy, and just like to talk to him. Just chop it up, just about, not even just dogs, just about, life, how my day went, So he's a real good guy.
Right. What was the apprenticeship process like back then? Because I know now it's like, I'm sure it's a little different now, but like when you first came in, what was the whole process? First of all, I mean, did they ask you if you wanted to be a judge, or did you apply, or what was the process?
Man, back then, I actually, I showed interest in becoming a judge, and before I even asked or to see what do I need to do, or what are the requirements or anything, I was contacted. I was contacted by someone, and when I got the call, it was like, man, I got the call to become a judge, and it was crazy because at the time, it was me and my wife, we were just dating at the time, and I came home. I was actually working in apartment management at the time when I got that call, and I'm sitting finishing up my paperwork for the day, and I got the call, and I'm like, wow, really? Are you sure you got the right person you contacted? Because I was actually just about to inquire about what does it take, or what do I need to do to become a judge, and I got that call and sent in a resume, and basically just explaining my history with dogs, was showing and what I've done, within the ABKC community, within the dog community itself, and just my experience overall, and from there, it was approved, and I just went on and started up my apprenticeships. I basically, once again, one of my main mentors was Ron Ramos, and just kind of got a lot of information, just soaked up a lot of information from him, and it was honestly, it was really a blessing, and that call just, I can still remember that call, remember exactly what I was doing, what I was wearing, everything, and it was just an honor, to get that call, and I still feel that way, today, and it's because like I said, man, it's a great feeling, when you got that call. But the apprenticeship was basically apprenticing under 3 senior judges, and We also had to have requirements as far as, the champion out dogs, possibly grand champion, producing champion dogs, and also tests. We had, it was one huge test that we had to take, and we had to take one final test right before. And from there, after that, it was game on, man. And as soon as I finished, I got my first assignment, maybe 3 weeks after I was an official judge, man. And first show was down in Florida, Steel Jaw Bullies. They threw a show down there, man. And it was, it was the first time judging. It was like, man, I can't believe I'm actually doing this, And it was just a wonderful feel, wonderful.
Yeah, no doubt about it, dude. It's dope to hear you talk about it because, I mean, I went through the same fucking thing. Like, I couldn't believe it, man. I could not believe it. I was like, what? Like, I don't know. You talk to people about it beforehand, and there's conversations being had. There's people talking about whether you would be, somebody capable of doing that shit and going out and making competent picks and shit every weekend. But you just don't expect to have somebody call and say, hey, we want to start the process. And it's like, I mean, I don't know if I remember what the fuck I was wearing, but I definitely remember the conversation. It was like, it was a cool feeling, and it's still a cool feeling now, and I think you and we have a lot in common as far as what we like about it. Part of it is the traveling and being able to go to these different places that we would never go to without this shit. You know what I mean? So
right.
It's still, every time I get
one
assigned.
One of the things, man, I tell people, when I first started out with dogs, and people that old friends that contact me, and they're like, man, where you at this weekend? He's like, no, we never get in contact with you. You're always going somewhere. I said, yeah, man, I just stay busy. Like, man, you're all around the world now. It's like, just to think about it, you young kids started out with pit bulls in the yard, and you just stuck with it, and look where you're at now. These dogs are taking you around the world. And
motherfuckers think I'm crazy when I tell them that.
Older people to tell me something like that, or older friends to say that, like, man, this dude is really traveling around the world off of dogs and meeting, just great people every time. Everywhere I go, man, I'm always meeting someone and just enjoying a different culture and learning new things and, just hands-on experience with it, man. It's wonderful, man. It's great.
But isn't that like a crazy conversation to have? Like, people that have kind of seen, like, people that know you before all this shit. That's like a crazy conversation to have every time, because they were like, in the beginning, I'm sure people, we all go through this shit when we first started. I'm sure there was people that were, like, you're crazy. What the fuck do you have 7, 8 dogs for? Like, what are you doing? Like, like, what are you, or the fights that you have with people in the beginning that think you're gonna be a puppy mill because you're having a couple of litters. Like, we all go through have those conversations in the beginning, and we have those doubters. But then you see people get to see 5, 6, 7 years down the road, 8 years down the road, 10 years down the road, people get to see, all the experiences that you have and all the positive stuff that comes out of that shit. And then it's like, it's just an interesting conversation to have with people that have seen the whole progression.
Oh yeah. It is, man. And it's crazy, that we're talking about that. Just today, I received a message actually from someone from back home, and he just contacted me, saying that somebody was looking for a pup. One of his friends that's in the Army, he's back and he's looking for a pup, and he said, man, and it really touched me. He was like, man, I'm so proud of you. Man, I remember when you were at your mom's house, man, you had 5 dogs over there, and You know, you were always, once you got home from school, you were like, man, you rushing to get home. We out hanging out, chilling. And, man, you rushing to get home to mess with dogs and mess with puppies. It's like, man, I'm so proud of you that you stuck with it because, you know, you just took it to a whole different level that we never would have thought it would have gone that way for you, man. And I'm, you know,
Right.
proud of you. And, man, just that right there, bro, just really touched me. It really did. Because, I mean, I sit back and think about it. It's like, damn, you know what? I have been messing with dogs, like, pretty much all my life, you know? And
Well, fuck
I
it.
mean,
Makes you proud of
it
yourself,
pays
you
off,
know?
you know? It pays off.
Well, not only that, but it makes you proud of yourself. Makes you think about
It does.
all the, because it doesn't matter who you are. It does not matter who you
No,
are. If you've been doing dogs 10 years, it's a lot of obstacles that you had to overcome. You know, bottom line.
absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
especially if you're successful at it, there's a lot of things that you had to
Mm-hmm.
overcome, and a lot of situations you had to set up the right way for you to be successful, but also a little bit of luck that came into that shit too. You know, so it's like you get to look back and see all those obstacles that you overcome, and it makes you proud of yourself. Like, you know, I did this shit, and for the most part, we've all done this shit on our own. For the most part, we're all self-made motherfuckers. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Most definitely. Most
So
definitely.
it's like it makes you proud of yourself having that conversation and thinking about going back and thinking about all, because I don't know how you are, but I don't really sit and think about shit that happened yesterday a whole lot. You know, I'm thinking about what
Nah,
I got to do today.
I'm thinking about what I'm doing at the moment, what I'm doing tomorrow is what I'm thinking
Right.
about.
What do I got coming up tomorrow? Like what are the big goals? Like what are we focused on for the future? I don't really sit around thinking too much about the shit that happened in the past, but it's nice to be able to look back and like look at that all the road riddled with fucking broke down obstacles that you overcome on the way
Oh,
to
yeah.
being successful. It's dope, dude, and it
Mm-hmm.
definitely makes you proud of yourself. That's an interesting conversation to have with people that have seen the whole thing, man.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I totally agree with you on that.
What would you say? Well, the you know the majority of the time that you've been judging, you were also, you know, showing your dogs. So like what would you say is the biggest challenge with that? What would you say is the biggest, like, you know, obstacle you had to overcome, and just in that, because I know there's a lot of people that we have a lot of different opinions, you know, like should you as a judge be able to show your dogs or handle in the ring with other judges because of politics and biases and things like that. But what would you say is the biggest obstacle you had to overcome being a judge and still wanting to showcase your breeding stock?
Well, honestly, man, my biggest thing is that, you know, becoming a judge, I became extremely picky on what I bring out and present
Mm-hmm.
to the community. I
Yes,
become,
sir.
I mean, extremely picky. You know, my wife was just getting on me about that the other day. Like, why you don't show this? I was like, oh, well, I don't like this. It's like, you know, you're just a fucking asshole.
We're
I
just
said,
gonna
why?
get
I said, I'm just
it's
saying,
it's it's
if I don't like something about one of my dogs, I'm not gonna take it out.
but I think it's
But
like a hyper. It's like we almost get hypersensitive to it because we know people are gonna fucking hate, and we know people are
absolutely,
gonna pick that motherfucker apart to the smallest little hair. You know,
yes,
so it's
yes,
like you almost
yes,
get
yes, yes,
hypersensitive
yes,
to the shit, and you don't want, even though the worst shit on your yard is probably still as good as most people's good shit, you still,
yes.
like, you know, as a judge, you taking that shit out is going to be overly scrutinized and picked through with a fucking fine tooth comb. You know it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a given, you know, because, you know, as us as being judges, you know, you want, and see, the thing is, with a lot of the community, they say, oh, it's politics, or you only want because it's a judge, so forth and so forth. But the thing is that we didn't become judges just by bringing subpar dogs into the ring. You know, whether we were handlers, whether we bred champion, grand champion, quality dogs, that's how we became judges, you know. So I'm just basically, I'm going to bring in the best thing as possible so there won't be anything to be said. And I mean, of course, there's still going to be something said just because we're judges.
Yeah, no matter what, right.
You know, but the thing is, you know, they're just going to have something to talk about. That's just how the community is, you know, and that's really with anything, you know. They're always going to have something to talk about, you know. So it's kind of, you know, I did slack off with showing, you know, because of that reason, just to keep that down. But you know, next year I think I'm gonna probably come on and hurt a few feelings, you know. And, you know, they talk some shit, they just talk shit, but I know what I have, you know. So it's
right.
And
but
I'm
I mean,
just tired of sitting dogs back just because of that. So I'm just going to start bringing them on now.
Now, like I think you know, you always hear that you know, I mean, I don't know if it's an argument, but that opinion, that point of view, you always hear, you know, judge, if you're a judge, you shouldn't be handling, you know, you shouldn't be showing dogs anymore. But here's the problem I have with it. The requirements to become a judge are basically almost solely based on your resume in a dog show. You know what I'm saying? Like the one requirement is you have to own a certain number of champions. Well, you don't own champions without showing dogs. You have to produce a certain number of champions. For the most part, your stuff that you produce doesn't earn a title unless you earn that title on it. So you're again showing dogs. You have to have a certain number of years on the show circuit. It's actually part of the requirements that you have to have a certain number of years on the show circuit. So like the most of your resume that they use to pick judges, not just ABKC show circuit. Now there's UKC judges or UKC people coming in that are also judges, AKC people, you know, we have Kennel Club and FCI. Like we have judges from every major registry. I'm talking like, you know, for most of what their resumes are based on is the fact that they were in the ring showing fucking dog. You know what I mean? So it's just because now I'm a judge for the ABKC means that I'm not allowed to showcase any of my breeding stock. When most of the time the quality of my breeding stock is why I'm a judge in the first fucking place. Like that's crazy. That doesn't even make any sense.
That is insane, you know, and that you know it's really touchy that you know that people feel that way because you know Nationals was one of the ones that really got to me. Well, actually, honestly, it got to my wife more than it got to me. I was just I was high off of the moment at that time, you know. And, you know, I heard things behind me. I heard you know comments that were said, and you know it's whatever, you know.
I feel like everybody that's won Nationals has probably dealt with that.
I worked my ass off, you know what I'm saying? I went in there just saying, hey, I'm going to go on and show this old dude just one last time and, you know, and let that be it. Man, I've gone to Nationals after Nationals and showed and, you know, didn't win. You know, there was a Nationals that the first year we started doing reserves, that was 2010. Yeah, 2010.
In Atlanta.
Here in Atlanta, and I got reserve champion, you know, for the first time. I'm like, okay, got a reserve, cool. So what? So I said, you know what? I'm gonna keep pushing this dude. I'm gonna bring him out to nationals, bring him out, and you know, finally I got a national win. But it was so much shit that was talked about, you know. Oh, he only won because he was a judge. Oh, the judge is from Atlanta. Blah 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 blah. You know, but hey. I worked as hard, probably harder than you did. I put in time. You know, I made sure hey, he was on point. I made sure myself I was on point. So, you know, I went in there to win. You know, and you should always have that attitude. No matter if I'm a judge, no matter if I wasn't a judge, whatever, it was still going to be some shit that was going to be talked about, you know?
Yeah, no
But
matter what.
it's crazy that people feel that way. Oh, just because we're judges, we shouldn't be allowed to show.
I feel like,
mean, you know, honestly, that sounds like, okay, hey, it's a judge in the ring. Oh, fuck it, I'm not showing my dog. Yeah, they're automatically going to win. Fuck that. You show your dog to the best of your abilities, and if you think you're on point, God damn it, you feel that challenge a judge or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's all on what that judge decides at that time, you know? It probably just wasn't your dog's day. That's all.
yeah.
Whoever has the better dog in the ring, and I mean all of us, you know, that I know of as judges, you know, we have integrity. We're not going to just fucking pick each other because we're fucking judges. That don't make any goddamn sense. I've dumped a few damn judges in the ring.
Well, I feel like,
you know, I mean, hey,
I feel like
happens, you know?
for the most part, you know, we hold each other to a pretty high fucking standard. You know what I mean? So it's like,
oh yeah.
And as a judge, you know you're going to take some heat for choosing another judge. So I don't think that had. Well, I think first of all we got to back it up. I'm glad you brought up the 2013 Nationals again, like we were talking about. What Errol's talking about is 2013 when he won ABKC Nationals in New Jersey, right? New Jersey.
That's correct.
I've been to so many of them. I lose years and like. There's a whole year I don't even know where the fuck it was at, but I was there. You know what I mean? It's anyway.
Yeah.
But so 2013 Nationals, we were in Jersey, and Errol wins, and the judge is Rodrigo Silva, who's also from Atlanta, and obviously you and Rodrigo know each other. But the thing is, what people don't understand is, I mean, I also knew Rodrigo. I show every weekend. You don't think I've talked to Rodrigo before that point. The other person that was in the best of breed was, I believe, Tony Gold, handling someone else's dog.
That's correct. Yep.
And he also knew Rodrigo. He was also handling, showing, shit like that. Like, obviously, and you and I knew each other. Tony and I knew each other. You and Tony knew each other. We all, you spend enough time in the ring showing with each other, you know, together. You fucking, you get to know people. I mean, that's just how it works. Anyway.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's not like, you know, not like we were super, super tight or whatever at that point. But, you know, we knew each other and we were cool for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but that whole day, I just had a feeling like I could feel it in my fucking bones that I was gonna do something. And because too many things went wrong. I woke up in the morning, I woke up the morning of Nationals, didn't even have the right shirt. I brought a polo. I brought dress shoes. And you can see, like, people who've seen the pictures of 2013 Nationals have seen this shit. I brought, like, dress shoes. I brought a nice fucking pair of jeans. I had a polo to go with the shit so I looked presentable, handling, because I had, like, I think 4 or 5 dogs to handle. Brought a polo, or I thought I brought a fucking polo. I did not bring the polo. So 10 a.m., the morning of Nationals, I have 2 dogs that I think could be contenders. I don't even have a fucking shirt to wear. So, and I was in the Elite Edge at that time. So I hit up, you know, worst case scenario, you find a group t-shirt and you just wear your fucking group t-shirt. So I hit up the manager at the time. I can't even remember who the fuck it was. I hit up the manager at the time. I said, "Hey, I need a t-shirt. I forgot. I don't know where the fuck my shirt's even at." So he said the only thing I got left is 4X or some crazy thing or some crazy big T-shirt. So I'm like, oh, I don't really have a choice. I'm wearing it. So the whole day I'm wearing this big fucking nightgown T-shirt, handling
That
in.
motherfucker was kind of long, bro.
It's huge. I mean, I'm talking. This thing was like a fucking circus tent that I was wearing around this shirt. So I mean, like, I don't know. I felt like I looked like shit, and but the thing is, like, the dogs that I was handling were doing super well. The dog that I ended up making it to the best in breed with was Maybach out of the champion class, and we won. I can't even remember how big the fucking champion class was. 40 dogs, 50 dogs. Huge champion class. Huge.
That year was 50 plus champions, 30 plus grand champions.
Huge fucking classes.
Huge.
But I was caught up in the hoopla all day because I had Jackpot with me, and back then, you have Jackpot out, it's a circus in itself. You know what I mean? So I'm dealing with that circus, and I'm handling dogs and trying to focus on, winning, because I really had a feeling that Maybach could take it. Maybach was built really well. He moved really well. But it just was like, I don't know. I had a feeling that it was going to be, I was going to do something. And even winning that champion class was big, was huge for me. Even though it wasn't my dog,
Yes.
As a handler, I took that dog from 0 points to a champion, to national champion class winner. So it was like, that was a big deal too. Just winning the champion class,
Oh yeah, definitely.
But
30 plus dogs, man. That's a huge accomplishment, man. Huge.
And at that time, like, I won. I put a bunch of titles on dogs handling, and I won a bunch of best in shows and shit, and best of breeds and shit like that. That means a lot when you win that. Don't get me wrong, but just that champion class at nationals, like that atmosphere and that competition, and like, under a judge that I respect, you know what I mean? Like, it meant, like, that champion class was dope. Winning that shit was dope. And the fact that I had a chance to win the best of breed, and I didn't know it at the time going into the best of breed, but I mean, I had really good chance. Like, that was as close as it could possibly ever fucking be. As far as between the final, what came down to the final race between Maybach and ROCKSTAR. But like, when you, first of all, up to that nationals, up to 2013 nationals, what would you say was your like biggest accomplishment as far as like in dogs up to that point?
Up to that point, man. Really, honestly, just really pushing with him, man. He was our main focus at the time. We were kind of, doing, really working with our females on the yard, just lining up different things to breed them too. But honestly, and still to this day, for me, that would be my biggest accomplishment, man. Was that national, just winning that. That in itself, man, is that's something that's just a feeling that's really unexplainable, man. It's a really, it's an awesome feeling.
Right. Before that, would you say becoming a judge in 2009, that was probably the biggest thing that happened as far as like in dogs?
Definitely, yeah, for sure.
Before
for sure.
that?
Yeah, definitely becoming a judge for sure, and that nationals win, man. That's hugest things for me.
Fuck.
It's been a few other things that gone down the line. I've handled dogs for other people, and bought them 2 champion titles. Other females that we had on the yard as well too. judge and also national win for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, if Nationals doesn't mean shit to you, then I don't know what you're doing showing dogs in the first place, you know. But like,
oh man,
I mean, I remember the first time I seen a picture of ROCKSTAR or heard about hard body bullies. It was ROCKSTAR in front of the kennels, or maybe not in front, but maybe on the, it was like on the side of the kennel, but a whole bunch of ribbons lined up and shit, and he was like posted up. That was the first time I seen him, and that was that was 2011 probably. That was 2 years before the Nationals.
2010. That was 2010.
2010, right? So that, I mean, that was a while before.
At that time, he was one of the youngest champions at that time. That was back then, you know.
Back in the day.
Like I said, that was 2010. Yeah, he received his champion title when he was right at I want to say he was about 12, 13 months at the time when he received his champion title.
Yeah, so young.
Yeah. So, but you know, of course, now today, man, there's plenty, way more shows, and you know, of course, they got way younger champions, of course, nowadays. But you know, at that time, he was one of the youngest champions.
Going into that 2013 Nationals, did you? I mean, you kind of touched on it a little bit already, but did you have any kind of expectations? Like, did you have even like a feeling that something could happen? Like, did you have any sort of inclination that you guys would do something?
Man, you know, honestly, I didn't. You know, we when we went to Nationals, man, it was kind of, you know, I've always, at that time, I was always kind of working him out and just kind of keeping him in shape. And at the time, we just recently had our daughter, and you know, we were kind of debating on if we were going to go to Nationals or not. And you know, a few of our friends were like, "Come on, just go and take the ride." And like, I'm not gonna show nothing. He's like, you know, take ROCKSTAR. I was like, I ain't taking him out there. You know, he's older, and you know, I don't think he'll have a chance. Blah 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 blah. And you know, we went out there, man, just to really say, you know, hey. You know, we thought that whole 13-hour ride, we're kind of like, I think this might be the last time we show Rock, you know, at Nationals or whatever. You know, we're probably going, you know, whether he wins, lose, whatever, you know, we're going and just sit him on down at this point, you know, just have him as a, you know, pet, you know. And so we actually really didn't go with any intentions on winning. You know, that's all I thought about, you know, just taking that ride up to Nationals and just participating, being out there, and I said, hey, you know, I want to throw him up in there and see what he does. And I mean, it was definitely a shocker for sure. You know, definitely a shocker.
Well, I don't think anybody expects it. We all plan to win it, and we all want to win it, and everyone's goal is to win it. But to say that you're going into that show expecting to win is pretty pompous, and I don't think anybody really goes in expecting to win. But so you show up, first of all, shout out to Perlina, shout out to Aubrey. What's up? Thanks for letting me steal your husband for a couple of hours. And dad for a couple of hours. But you know, new baby, at the time, ROCKSTAR was pretty much, you know, retired at the point, you know, as far as showing goes. So you got the retired old man, new baby. You pack the family up. It's a 13-hour drive from. I mean, that's 13 hours if you're really like covering some ground. It's more, probably could get closer to a 15-hour drive with the dogs and the kid. Probably looking at about 15-hour drive up there. So you take the 15-hour drive up, and then, you know, when you got to the show, like, was ROCKSTAR, because from what I remember, because early in the day we're all walking around mingling a little bit. We're like I said, the circus is going on, the hoopla is going on. But from what I remember, I think we actually even told me that you thought Rockstar was a little underweight going into that show.
I did, man. Yeah.
When I seen him, I thought he looked fine.
Man, I was looking at him, and he didn't want to eat, and that long road trip, and he doesn't do too well on a long road trip, and a lot of dogs are like that.
Yeah,
so,
a lot of dogs are like that.
I think it took a lot out of him, and I felt that he looked a little underweight, and a lot of people said he looked fine, but
they definitely dehydrate themselves.
Seeing him at home and then seeing him there, it was a big difference for me,
Yeah, they definitely dehydrate themselves on the road. I mean, that's something, and not eating food. I mean, that's not great. You know what I mean? But I feel like that's not even the biggest detriment, the most detrimental thing for them. I feel like just the fact that they're not on their normal schedule and they're not drinking what they normally would be drinking, and they're just it's not the same, and it throws them off. It throws most dogs, especially their older, unless they're at a show every weekend or every other weekend. I mean, they're not used to that shit, and they get used to being home, and they get used to their routine and their life,
Yeah. Okay. Definitely.
But what I remember when I seen him, what I remember is I remember him looking. I feel like he looked, pretty good. I feel like there was a couple of other dogs that everybody had their eye on that were kind of the favorites going in. Of course, there's you never really know who a judge is going to choose, but I feel like there was a couple other dogs that were favorites going in, and none of the favorites ended up being the dogs that were actually in the best of breed. So
right.
That just goes to show any fucking dog on any given day can take the whole thing down. And we don't like to, I don't know, we don't like to get into too much like presentation and handling and stuff. I'm a firm believer in the best dog is going to win, even if it's not, I don't know. It's tough to say, but at that level of competition, at nationals, best of breed, when you've got, two dogs that are showing their asses off and built really well and look really good, handling and presentation and performance, all that shit comes into play. You know what I mean? On that level, everything's coming into play.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people listening have not even seen the pictures or footage or anything from 2013 Nationals, but I'm gonna give a little play by play of what the fuck happened. Okay, to come down the best of breed, because like I said, I really like going into that show. I like really felt like we were gonna do something, and winning the champion class. That was it. Like for me, that was good enough. Like that was super dope, and I was super happy with that shit. And super, I felt really accomplished because it was a big class. But going into that best of breed, I was like, we're winning this shit. I don't give a fuck, like. Like you go in there to win, or else what the fuck are you doing in there,
Yeah.
But so we go in for the best of breed. Errol's lined up last because he's got the grand champion. No, I think actually Rodrigo had that switched. I think you were up front. I don't know.
No, I was in the back.
I think maybe my memory's kind of fucking with me.
Tony was up front.
Right, and then I was in the middle, and then you were in the back with the grand champion. Yeah. So we do, he does the normal check down. It's the best of breed at Nationals, so you're going to put your hands on all the dogs again. So he does a normal check down, goes through all the dogs. We do the first gate around, and Rodrigo doesn't make a decision, kind of looks at us like we're fucking orange or something. and then tells us to or asks I think switched you and Tony, or maybe just had switched you and Tony, put you up front. So then you're going around first, and then I'm going around behind you. So we had to go around a second time. So in my head, I was thinking, all right, Rodrigo's looking at ROCKSTAR, but I don't really know where Maybach is in his mind, you know? So we go around that second time, and he still has this fucking puzzled look on his face, like he's not sure. And I'm like, oh, well, he's definitely looking at Maybach now. Like, I definitely have a chance now. But we already gated twice, so I was like, I don't know what I can do now. But then this motherfucker Rodrigo, and I mean, before we even get to the last part of it, like, what was going through your mind, like when he switched you guys and we did the gate the second time? What was going through your head? Because I know you knew he was looking at ROCKSTAR at that point.
Yeah. So I mean, at that point, honestly, got a little nervous. I did.
Yes.
Yes. And and myself, I do that as well too when I'm judging. I'll switch some dogs around. I'll basically put those two dogs that I'm really eyeing, I'll put those like right by each other. So once he did that switch, and we were, I was there. Tony went in the back with the class dog, and then you're in the middle. I'm like, all right. He's looking at me. Then I kind of, once we went around, I kind of saw Maybach. I said, God damn it. I said, that motherfucker's looking good back there. I was like, all right, I need to make sure we on point. So, man, I'm doing a little pep talk at this time with Rock. I'm like, yo, hey, we got to do something, bro, because he's looking at us. So we got to be on point. I was a little nervous at that point. Not going to lie to you.
Well, if that situation doesn't get your nerves going, I mean, there's something going on with you. You know what I mean? Because if you're into this shit like we're into it, I mean, essentially that's the biggest situation you're going to be put in.
Oh yeah. Man, a combination of, just having that feeling that, okay, I'm at Nationals. The judge has got his eye on the dog that I'm handling. And then you got all these people around the ring. I mean, there was a shitload of motherfuckers out there.
Yo, and Jersey, to me,
I mean, pictures flashing, going on. It's just like, all right, center of attention is on us three.
Right.
He's definitely looking at these two dogs up front. God damn it. Pull it together, man. We got to do this shit.
And I think Jersey was one of the biggest nationals. In my opinion, I think Jersey was one of the biggest nationals. So it was just like a packed building. The ring was fucking packed.
Oh yeah.
Man.
Absolutely, brother. I mean, it
packed.
Once you take that peek around the room and, man, you just see all eyes on you like that. Just center stage front. I mean,
oh, bro, it gets me sweating.
Cool.
It gets me sweating.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Palms have definitely got a little sweaty. I had a suit on, man. I ain't gonna lie, I felt a little sweat dripping down my back and everything.
I had that.
All right, this is shit just got real.
I had that big Elite Edge nightgown on, and it was just fucking soaked with sweat because I've been like, even in the champion class, this shit had me nervous because that was the biggest situation at that point. That was the biggest situation I've been in.
Bro, that's 50 plus dogs, man, you went up against, brother.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I showed Nationals, I think, the year after also, and I didn't even get close to the best of breed. But so it was definitely it's definitely something I like. I definitely hold that memory, up there. It's up there for sure. The fact that I lost the best in breed, I mean, it's not even really disappointing because it's the goal that I had really set out, because I knew I was handling a champion. I just wanted to win that fucking champion class. Like, that's a big accomplishment,
Oh, yeah.
So then going into that best of breed. Okay, so then Rolando makes us gate twice, right? So he still looks puzzled. So he pulls ROCKSTAR out to the center. He pulls Maybach out to the center. And he says, I need you guys to do a down and back.
Dreaded down and back.
So then I'm thinking in my head, like, oh fuck. Like this is the first second. And it sounds like this is taking a long time. This is fucking split sec. This shit is happening like so fucking fast. And it's almost like some sort of Matrix fucking scenario where your brain slows everything down and you're like thinking 7 times faster than normal for some reason.
Yeah.
But when Rodrigo calls us both out into the center of the ring, this is the first time where in my brain it's a legitimate possibility. You know what I mean? Like I have a legitimate shot at taking this best of breed right now.
Yeah.
So, which I don't know if Maybach felt how nervous that made me because he acted like a fucking douchebag at that point. But I don't if he didn't feel how I was nervous, dude. I'm telling you, it was like that was the first time I was like, holy fuck, this could be a possibility. And even getting pulled out there with a dog like ROCKSTAR I was like, yo, this is what it's all about. And this is the picture actually that James Abba and I were talking about. He has a picture of the very last second when we go up, we gate the dogs all the way down the ring. So the whole building is now looking at just Errol, just me, just ROCKSTAR, just Maybach. Okay, it's just the 4 of us in our own little fucking universe. And so we go up, we come back down. James Abba's got a fucking picture of where we both stopped at the very end, right in front of Rodrigo, where he made the final decision. So, and Rodrigo's holding the fucking trophy, and we got both dogs, and he's got the banner in the background. He's a monster with the pictures. You already know.
Oh yeah.
So he's showing me this picture, and I'm like, that right there, that is the second that I lost. That very last second at the very end of that up and back, Maybach had his like head on the ground. You can see this shit in James's picture. But Maybach's got like his head on the ground and he's like fighting the leash and shit. And ROCKSTAR is literally stacked up to perfection, looking Rodrigo straight in his fucking face. Like perked up, focused, ears forward, feet forward, like perfectly just. I mean, Rodrigo didn't even have a choice at that point. Like, my dog went to shit. ROCKSTAR said, hey, give me my motherfucking trophy, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
And, like, when he handed you that trophy, I was like, fuck. But at the last like 5 paces when Maybach was doing that shit, I'm like, oh fuck. In my head, I was like, oh, that's it. As soon as he like jerked on the league and put his head to the ground, was like gating with his head down, like almost shaking his head, trying to fight the lead. I knew like, fuck, that's not good. You know, at this stage, at this moment, that is not good, bro. You should not be doing that. But just seeing that picture with ROCKSTAR like perked up and focused and looking like $1 million, to me, Rodrigo didn't really have a. I mean, that was the point where he was like he had to. I mean, it was no decision at that point.
Yeah.
I watched the video of it like 600 times.
I've seen that picture, and honestly, I was amazed that he act that way, bro. And I even had other people like, man, what did you do to that dude? I've never seen him act that way. I said, bro, I don't know, man. I didn't do anything different on how I worked him or anything. Nothing different at all. And I mean, he just, I don't know, man. He was out there and said, okay, look, you say this the last time, okay, I'm gonna give your ass a performance that we're gonna see what we can do,
And people call you crazy for saying that. Motherfuckers will call you crazy for saying that shit. Like he knew, no, motherfuckers. I don't think he's crazy because that motherfucker knew. Okay, he knew the situation, and he stepped up and shined. Like, I don't know, he's a rock star, bro. I mean, that's the motherfucker's a rock star.
And fast forwarding, to Best in Show, was one of the questions that they asked Rodrigo, what actually made him, decide to go with me. And he said, man, the last and final decision came to, I was tagging him, and well, we'll let you go on. I'll go to that part once you go into the story, finish up the story. I'll go into the reason why
my whole fucking
decision will go with me.
Bro, my show was over Best of Breed. My whole world was my shit shut down. As soon as he handed you that trophy, my whole shit blacks out. I don't even remember what happened the rest of the Nationals. It's just like a blank page, bro. I blocked it out of my memory. But
just shut down on you from there.
But no, I mean, the guy that owned Maybach at the time, his name's Errol Bodden, and he was ecstatic. Like, he was happy as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, just seeing how happy he was with the champion win and how much attention Maybach got from being in that showdown. And, honestly, I truly believe that was the closest race of any Nationals ever. To me, I don't think that it's been that difficult of a decision for a judge at a Nationals that I've seen anyway, and I've missed a couple of them, so I haven't seen them all. But in my opinion, that was the closest race, and the adrenaline for me was just like not the adrenaline, the letdown for me was just like, fuck, man, I had to take a walk. I legitimately had to take a walk, get my shit together, because that was I don't like losing in the first place, and I definitely don't like losing in front of fucking 3,000 people, 3,000 people. And, but, as always, I try to set an example, shake your hand, say congratulations. No matter what, whether you agree with the shit or not. And I did not disagree with the decision at all, especially after seeing the video. I probably watched the video of that up and back 600 times. I've probably seen that video more times than the guy that put the video together, for sure. But, especially after looking at that, like, there was no decision at all in my mind. And, but no, honestly, I have no idea what happened in Best in Show. I didn't watch it. My brain just shut off. Like, I had to take 15 minutes and reboot the whole system, So I have no idea what happened in the Best in Show.
Man, Best in Show, really, really nice lineup. The oldie, man, super nice oldie was up there. We had a lot of breeds, man. We had the oldie, we had of course English, we had French Bulldog, Shorty Bull, American Bully. We did have did we have a pit bull? No, we didn't have pit bull then. We didn't have a pit bull at that time.
I think there was like 5 breeds, right?
In the ring were, phenomenal animals, all of them. And the final decision actually came between myself and the Shorty Bull. The Shorty Bull was
Goat.
Cassius
Clay, right?
Yep,
Right.
Cassius Clay, and you know, I was like, okay, damn it, you know what? Shorty Bull is about to get it.
At that time,
about to get it. I know he is.
At that time, the GOAT could not be beat. At that time, Cassius was taking best in shows left and fucking right with that, you know.
Oh man, yeah. You know, and I was like, all right, yeah, he's been showing all year, ROCKSTAR, you know, shit. He ain't showed that full year. 2013, I think I sat him out the whole year. I think I showed him twice at the beginning of the year, and that was it. And I sat him out for the rest of the year. Cassius, on the other hand, man, he showed throughout the whole year. He was used to the road, going here and there. I mean, he was kicking ass. He was kicking ass, man. And
right. And at that time, they weren't separate. The Bullies and the other breeds weren't separate. It was all one judge.
That's right. And but that year, that year we had Susan Fedorsha as the other breed.
That was the first year it was split. Okay, all right.
Yeah. That was the first year it was split. And
I need a ABKC historian on this show because I'm terrible at that.
Yeah, so we had Susan in the ring, and Rodrigo, and actually they made a cut for the best in the show, and they cut it down to myself and Cassius. And bro, at that point I was like, all right, yeah, Cassius definitely got it. You know, my adrenaline was pumping so hard. I mean, honestly, from getting the grand champion class, you know, and then once I got breed, I was like, whoa, wait a minute, this shit is really happening, you know.
Right.
So,
especially in the way it went down.
I'm just so nervous at that point. I'm like, I don't know what's about to happen. I'm like, look, I know he's about to get it hands down, you know. But they made us, man. We took him around, and you know, I remember Rolando telling me, he said, bro, you got him out there looking good. Bro, you gotta move that motherfucker. You gotta move it. He's like, man, Chris is gonna run up in your ass. You gotta move it. I'm like, all right, got you, cool, whatever, you know. So, man, we take him around, and man, we came back, stacked him up. Man, they had us take him around again. I'm like, shit, this dude is tired, you know. I know he's tired.
Fuck, I'm sure you were tired.
Ring, bro. That was a big ring.
I'm sure both. Oh, the Nationals ring then was big as a motherfucker, bro.
Big ass ring, and we used that whole ring. We didn't do no short circuit. We ain't cut shit. We used that whole ring. So man, I moved his ass, and then and both Susan and Rodrigo, they both actually at that time Susan went over ROCKSTAR, Rodrigo went over GOAT. And they stepped back, and they you know, talked and whatnot, and they were looking over, and I'm like, you know, ROCKSTAR kept on moving his foot. I'm like, I said, bro, look, come on, we need this, man. Come on, man, just keep still, focus. Come on, bro, we got this, chill. And I that was the exact words I told him, and Rodrigo was walking by as I was saying that. And, you know, when I said that, he actually just stayed there. He stayed in place. He stacked. He didn't move. So he stepped back and started talking to Susan again. Made us go around again. Went around, and man, that last time he went around, I was surprised because I thought for sure this dude was going to gas out. And, man, we went around the ring, bro. He was floating, man. And I do have actually some pictures of us going around the ring, brother. And, I mean, I looked at those pictures.
Yeah, famous toy soldier joints of you and him side gate around the ring. He looks like he's fucking perfect.
Man, he moved. I mean, awesome. I was amazed at him, man. I was amazed. I was blown away. And man, we went back around that one last time. Boom, we stacked up. And you know, once they were walking over, they were walking towards Bully, and then boom, he hit that quick little juke move and went to me. I was like, whoa, shit. You know, man, my heart dropped down to my ass, man. I was like, I was amazed, bro. It was just that feeling that, man, like I never felt that feeling before, bro. You know, it was something that was just unbelievable, man. That, you know, I actually won nationals. You know, it's a huge accomplishment, man.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
At
Something.
that point, you know, man, I was like, yeah, you know, this dude, he's retired. I'm gonna just let him go on and chill, man. You know, to me, there's nothing more that you can accomplish, man.
Well,
you know,
I mean,
that's major, bro. Major.
I never told you this, but I put a contract out on ROCKSTAR. So I'm glad you put him up for a year or a couple years, because there was people looking for him for at least 6 months, probably. But no, it's a huge thing, and you guys worked your ass off. And honestly, I can't. If it had to be, especially now how it turned out, we're family. You know what I mean? So,
oh yeah.
I can't really think of somebody that I would rather have lost to, even though I would much rather have been on the other side of things. You know, and all jokes aside, it's like, it's a big fucking deal, and you guys deserved every bit of it. And what got us started on this conversation is the backlash that happened afterwards with, you know, Rodrigo choosing what happened to be a judge handling his fucking dog to the win or whatever. To me, fuck all that noise. You know what I mean? It was well deserved.
Yeah.
You know, it was a hard fought thing. It's not like it was given to you by any means. You went up against, like you said, 30 plus grand champions. You went up against the winner of the champion class that beat 50 some dogs. Then you went up, after beating those guys, you went up against the Shorty Bull, who had won 30 some shows in a row or some crazy fucking thing, and took half of those are best in shows, beating out Bullies and Oldies and English, you know. So you beat some motherfuckers that day, sir. You know what I mean? Like you had, it wasn't an easy road to get there, for sure.
It wasn't, man. It was not at all.
But it's just like, I don't know. It's like that show was, for me, was like I don't know. After that, all I wanted to do was, you know, like, go harder. Like, after that, all I really wanted to do was go harder. And going, you know, me putting more work and more time into it actually led into judging for me also. So it's, you know, I don't know. It all works out how it's supposed to. You know what I mean? And I guess my biggest question for years was like, how much did life change after that, after you guys won? And how much did like your breeding business and your notoriety and stuff change? Like, was there a big difference afterwards?
It was quite a bit of a difference, honestly. It wasn't huge, but business did change, and you know, notoriety for sure definitely did change. You know, at that point, it was like I was getting so many calls of, you know, if it wasn't a call on, hey, what could I do to change this about my dog, or do you offer any training, or what's the stuff here on ROCKSTAR? You have any puppies off of ROCKSTAR? You know, so man,
non-stop, I bet.
Tons and tons of those calls, and man,
I bet it was non-stop.
It's a crazy feeling, man. Just getting all those calls and messages, and you know, people from all around the world just messaging me and calling, congratulations, and man, that in itself was a great feeling, man. You know, people that watched the video, and at the time, I forget who it was, but somebody. This was before Facebook Live and all that, of course.
Right.
Somebody just did a live stream. I forget who it was, but someone did a live stream, and man, it was just, man, after it happened, man, I just looked at my messenger and my emails, and man, just tons and tons of emails and messages, congratulating us. But yeah, definitely, things things did change for sure. You know, notoriety definitely went up a little bit. And, you know, I still, you know, I'm still same old me, man. Just, you know, I didn't, you know, let it go to my head or anything like that. I'm always going to be who I am, you know, and you know, but it was definitely a changer for sure for business, and, you know, it was greatly appreciated for damn sure.
You know what's shitty about that video being out there? It's like,
What's that, man?
you know, every time Michael Jordan dunked on somebody, like when they replay those highlights, that not only are they showing Michael Jordan dunking, but they're showing that motherfucker that he's dunking on. Okay? So every time they're playing that video, it's like you're Jordan and I'm the motherfucker getting dunked on every time.
With the long t-shirt on.
With the fucking Elite Edge nightgown on, bro. What the fuck is going on? Yeah, so whoever's got that video, really appreciate you. Really did a great job with that. How many countries have you been to judging?
Oh man, I've gone to visited Thailand twice. Gone out to Spain. I did Euro Nationals there.
Right, judged Euro Nationals.
Yeah, that was awesome, man. Went out to Guam. Let's see, where else did I go? Just recently came back from Nicaragua, and also went to Indonesia as well too. So been around a little bit, man. And it's
just fucking around with some dogs, man. It's just turned into a literal worldwide passion, man. That's like
just fucking with some dogs.
Just fucking around with some dogs one day. Like, think about it. I mean, think about it. Think about the first dog that you bought, okay? I mean, I don't know the exact scenario situation, but
first pit bull I bought, I was 14 years old, was a black and white Zebo bitch. It was my first pit bull that I bought.
So 14 years old, didn't have a passport, didn't have any idea what a fucking confirmation show was. The ABKC didn't even exist at that point. To think about that, and then to think about now you've hit 5, 6, 7 countries. You know, every time you go somewhere, these people treat you like you're some sort of fucking diplomatic dignitary coming from a different country. Like, you get driven everywhere, you get fed all day, you get entertained at night. You know what I mean? They treat you like a guest, and it feels really good. They treat you like they appreciate you coming to the, you know, and how I look at it, it's like, I appreciate you for bringing me here. Like, if it wasn't for you, I would not I wouldn't be seeing this country. So I appreciate you, but they feel the same way. So it's like, I don't know, man. I love that shit so much. I love the fact that I have, you know, people I respect and care about get to experience that shit too. Like, for me, I don't know, man. It's like, it's a super rough life, you know? It's just hard. It's just hard to deal with all this. I was just talking, I can't even remember who I was talking to earlier. I want to go to South Africa bad. Like, I want to see South Africa bad.
Man.
And I know we have shows down there. You know? I know we have shows down there too, so my South African people, if you motherfuckers are listening, which I'm sure they're not, but if you're listening,
you never know.
Put your boy on. You know what I mean?
A friend of a friend may be listening.
Yo, you know what's crazy? In 3 weeks, I'm about to go to Australia, and
oh man,
It's somewhere I wanted to go since I was a kid. Ayers Rock and the fucking Sydney Opera House and like the Aborigines and shit. Like I hope I said that right. Aboriginals. I'm not 100% on that.
Yeah.
But like all that shit, I'm super interested in it since I was a kid. So for me, it's awesome to be able to, and this Australia trip isn't even for judging, which, for me is even another like small pat on the back where it's not even it's my own thing. That's why I'm going, So
okay. Nice.
It makes it another like, I don't even know what you want to call, like a notch in your belt, like for me, judging was for a long time was the only way I got to go and see and experience stuff. And then the popularity of my dogs and stuff like made it to where I could travel a lot more and take, delivering dogs and, taking stuff here and, going places. And now it's like just something else, man, just something else to like a feather in your cap, It feels good, man. It feels,
oh yeah,
it's a dope feeling, just like people all over the world. And I'm sure after you won nationals, even all the way up to now, people all over the world like your shit. Like they're interested in you and what you're doing genuinely, feels good.
Yes. Yeah, it does, man. It does. And, it's all from dealing with dogs, man.
Just fucking around, scooping some dog shit.
Your first dog, you would have never, ever thought that you'd have gone this far. And, just like you said, travel these different places, all because of dogs.
Bro, first dog I had didn't even have paperwork. You know what I mean? First dog I bought didn't even have paperwork at all. Like there was no getting papers with him wasn't even an option because there just wasn't any. You know what I mean? That shit wasn't any. The first two I had two males, American Pit Bull Terriers. They were, fucking one was $125, I think, off a newspaper ad or some sort of local paper ad, and then the other one was my brother. My brother's friend's girlfriend's stepmom or some fucking crazy redneck white trash train that it's like anyway. So I go down. They got this litter of puppies and they're gonna take them all to the pound. So I go down there and look at them, and one puppy in the litter's got green eyes. Like I've never seen, still to this day, never seen a dog with green eyes. This motherfucker's eyes were green, bro. So I was like, which, probably somebody's going to come on my comment on my shit and say that's not physically possible or some crazy shit. I'm just telling you what I saw. This motherfucker had green eyes, okay? So I picked this green-eyed dude out of the litter and I take him home with me. So that was my second puppy. So within 3 weeks, I got both of those males and raised them up. But at that point, I wasn't even thinking about breeding or showing, or I just wanted to have, I traveled. I didn't really not travel, but I was in a lot of places where I probably shouldn't have been. So it was just nice to have my dog with me and, my dog to let people know that it's not time to fuck around. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and the first dog I bought, his name was Sherman. That was one of the best dogs to this day. One of the best dogs I've ever had. One of the smartest dogs I've ever seen in my life. And this was $100 no paper back road dog, Like just naturally smart. I had no idea how to train a dog at that time. I was 20 years old or something, 21 or something. I had no idea how to train a dog or how to do any of, you know what I mean? He was just naturally smart as fuck and protective. Like his protection instincts were, I still haven't seen anything like it to this day. So awesome dog, but I wasn't even thinking about breeding or
Yeah.
showing or traveling or selling dogs. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't thinking about any of that shit.
Right. Right. That's how it starts, man. It, just starts for the love of the dog, and then next thing it just starts to grow from there. And it's kind of like the same thing, my situation. Like I said, 13 years old, bought a black and white Zebo bit from a guy, paid $100 for, and at the time, hey, shit, I was doing whatever to get money, was washing cars, cutting grass, so I saved up some bread, and it was like, man, if you want the papers, it'd be another $100. So I was like, all right, cool. Paid him $100, got some papers. I mean, most likely they were probably fake papers, but
Yo,
yeah,
even when I bought registered bitches, they were papered through some bullshit.
She was a smart damn dog, man, and she beautiful dog. I loved her, but she was a nutcase, man. Did wind up breeding her, and had some pups after that, man. It was. Hey, she was a crazy motherfucker. If you did not live in that house, you were not welcomed at all. Not welcome.
Right. And that's what we got dogs for back then. That's why we got that motherfucker. That's what it was supposed to do. Right or wrong, as ignorant as it may be, that's what they were fucking supposed to do then,
That's right. That's right.
But to think about going from there to being in Thailand, hand picking fish on a guy's farm who respects your dogs and gives you VIP access to his hatchery.
Yeah.
Like that shit's, and that's a whole different, conversation for a different time. Your fish breeding fucking expeditions, that it's like, that's a whole nother world over there. But just to go from $100 Zebo bitch to now traveling to a different country, people respecting, just wanting you to see their shit and giving you VIP tours of their, and access to their, breeding stock and shit just because of your dogs and stuff. Like, that's dope, man.
Oh yeah. Man, you know what I really love, man, when you go to another country and just to, give an introduction for yourself and, talk a little bit, give them a little bit of history about you and once you evaluate their dogs and, you try your best with the language barrier just to explain, the reason that you picked the dog and what they can possibly work on to do better. Man, do you know I get just the joy of their faces and their reactions, just from me sharing that knowledge with them, man. They love it. Man, just, was it 2 weekends ago I went to Nicaragua, and there was a few people that spoke English. My guy David that got me out there, really, really cool guy, man.
What do they speak? Spanish down there?
He translated a lot for me.
What is it? Is it Spanish?
Say again?
Is it Spanish down there?
Spanish, yeah, Spanish there. And man, there were kennels from Honduras, Costa Rica, of course Nicaragua. It was a few of the surrounding countries there, man, that came out. But just to talk to some of the guys that could, understand me, I could understand them. They had a little broken English, and that was fine. I could understand them. I could understand a little Spanish as well too. So they said a few words in Spanish, and I could understand, and I can speak back to them as well.
Right.
But man, just to see their faces, to really genuinely appreciate my opinion about their dogs, and just for me sharing the knowledge with them, that right there, man, I get a joy out of that, bro. That makes me just feel like, damn, I really accomplished something. You know what I'm saying? It feels so good to do that.
No
You know,
doubt about it, man.
any country out there, man, it just feels so damn good, bro. It feels really good.
Well, you know what? You know what's crazy is like we sometimes like take advantage of the fact that we have access to each other. You know what I mean? And I don't hope that doesn't sound arrogant, but like sometimes I mean, I'm saying we, assuming that fucking everybody does it, but for me, sometimes I forget that I have access to people like Rolando. Like sometimes, or you have been judging since 2009 yourself. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I forget, or maybe not even forget, or just take advantage of the fact that I get to talk to you guys all the fucking time whenever I want to.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
those kind of conversations that we have all the time, like that kind of conversation to some people is like a priceless conversation. You know what I mean? Like it's something that they really appreciate because they hold your opinion in that high of regard. So it's like sometimes I feel like maybe we take advantage of the fact that we just get to have these conversations all the time with each other, and then other people appreciate that shit to the 10th power.
Yeah, most definitely.
What do you have coming up? What's your what assignments do you have coming up?
Well, this weekend, man, I'm gonna be in Kansas. That show out there.
Shit, you're gonna be right down the street from me.
Yeah, man, I'm down the street from you, man.
You got an extra day?
So yeah, we're gonna be there this weekend. Myself, Rolando, Pam Carter, and Rebecca are gonna be there.
Are you guys? When do you fly in, fly out? You got an extra day, or you just flying in Friday, back out Sunday?
Yeah, we're flying in Friday. I think if I'm not mistaken, I have to check my flight info. I think we're flying in somewhat kind of early on Friday, and back out on Sunday, man.
Yeah, copy that. I will see what's up for this weekend. I might be able to come down, and I'm not 100%. Jesus, excuse me. Apparently, I don't know what's happening. It's just a random sneeze for no reason out of nowhere. I don't know what the fuck that even was. Snuck up on me like a motherfucking burglar in the night right there, out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But
sneeze came down from your soul, man. I know it did.
Shit, trying to get out, bro. That's all it is. But yeah, so I might be able to. I might have plans with my mom, so that might if that's the weekend. If this is the weekend I'm thinking of, but if not, I'll definitely come down and we'll do something. We'll get together for sure. But what's after Kansas?
Big fight is this weekend as well too, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that.
Oh, bro, you're talking about the Mayweather-McGregor fight.
That's right.
I'm definitely gonna have to watch that shit somewhere. That's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, dude.
What do you have after Kansas?
After Kansas, man, I got a few. I got to look at this schedule going on, but I know a few that I know off the top of the head. I got actually October, man. I'm gonna be really, really busy. September, I'm gonna kind of slow it down a little bit. That's birthdays and anniversaries and all that good stuff for September. And then it's gonna be picking back up October, man. I got a show with James Cooper I gotta do. I have actually I'll be in the Midwest area for Julie Wilson and Rick Wilson show. So we got that coming up. That's gonna be the first weekend of October. We have another show in Augusta for Carl Bush that's going to be coming up, and then James Cooper's going to be towards the end of the month, Allentown. So
we're definitely
busy for the month of October, yeah, man. And,
yeah, you're definitely staying busy, bro.
Yeah, man. So nothing going back out of the country at this present time. It's been talking about another show coming up in Thailand. Well, there is one in September. But then there's going to be another one towards November, so I'll probably be going back out there to Thailand in November. So, but that's kind of up in the air as of right now. But Just be in the States, man, going around just about every weekend and
Sounds like
in my presence, sharing a little bit of knowledge, man, and just, meeting some faces, man.
it sounds like these dudes in Thailand need to have a little double show out there, a little double down on the shows out there. You know what I mean? You get one show day, you get two judges, guys. Come on now. Let's hook it up. No, actually, that's definitely somewhere I want to see too. Thailand. From all the pictures and shit I see from your trips, dude, it looks beautiful, man.
Oh man, beautiful place. Very, very busy, man, but beautiful. I'll tell you that. Beautiful, beautiful place, man. Last time I went to Ayutthaya City, which is the old capital of Thailand. Actually, that was the first time. That was the old capital of Thailand, man. It's very historic, beautiful place, man. The Buddhas and all the temples they have, man. It is amazing to see that stuff, man. I mean,
I can't even imagine.
Man, just walking in temples and, man, seeing these huge. I mean, it was this one that I went to, man. You walk into the temple and everybody goes in. You take your shoes off before you go in, and they, pray to this big, it's a huge gold statue, man. It's like, I don't know, man. I think probably had to be about 200, maybe 300 foot tall. And I mean, it's huge statue, man. And I mean, it's something just amazing to see, man. It's very, very historic place, man. And it's beautiful. I tell you that. Beautiful, beautiful place, man. You gotta go out there, man. You gotta go.
Yeah, I'm ready, man.
Get you out there, man.
Thailand, Indonesia, Vietnam. I'm ready, bro. I'm ready.
Yeah. You'll definitely stick out like a sore thumb because you're gonna be the
yeah. That's literally exactly what I was about to say. Like every time I go to the Asian countries, I'm a little bit of a standout. I'm actually about average. I'm about 2.5 normal Asian people. So I tend to stand out a little bit. I don't fit anywhere. I have to duck to go in everywhere. I don't fit in chairs. Like the chairs are smaller. The restaurants even, I feel like some sort of fucking ogre sitting down in the seat at a restaurant to eat. But yeah, no, I'm ready. All those countries, man. I'm definitely ready. Where can my listeners find you if they want to look you up and see what you got going on, what you're all about? Because the motherfucker does have dogs, people. We haven't talked too much about that, but he still does have dogs. Hard Body Bullies does still have dogs.
Man. Actually, we're on here late tonight, man, because I was out dealing with the dogs after my busy day. So, I definitely had to go and attend to them and give them all my attention. And actually, in a little bit, I'm about to go outside, let the pups out again, and run around. But they can definitely find me on Facebook, Errol Bodden, ERROL Bowden, BODDEN. That's on Facebook. Instagram, they can find me at Hard Body Bullies 1. That's HARDBODYBULLIES and the number 1 at the end of that. And man, just hey, look me up on the ABKC website. You can see where I'm going, or Facebook events. You can definitely see where I'll be going for the weekend. I normally post up where I'm going and where I'll be judging, so you can definitely find me there as well too. I do have a YouTube page as well, which is Hard Body Bullies 08. So I'm actually going to start doing a few more videos with the dogs and posting them there. And
right, got to get that pushing, bro.
Yeah. Right now, I'm doing a few videos of fish and all that stuff like that, but I'm going to start posting more videos of dogs and puppies and whatnot, and things we got coming up, different breedings that we got coming up. We have a few of them we have planned coming up within the next few months as well too. And so, like I said, man, next year I'm definitely plan to come on out and hurt some feelings and get ready to get a little bit of backlash saying that, hey, the only reason why he's winning because he's a judge. But hey, I'm ready for it.
Well, whenever you're ready to get shit fired back up, bro, hit me up and let me know. We'll get you back on the show and get some hype built up around it, get a little buzz going around it.
For sure.
But
Definitely.
I don't know, man. I love having friends on the show because we would just be bullshitting anyway, and I just get to turn the microphone on and it becomes a podcast, so it's cool as fuck for me.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you taking
that one in the van, man, going to
right
Tennessee.
The Road Crew show, ABKC Road Crew show. I can't remember what episode that is off the top of my head, but that was fun as fuck, man.
Yeah, Road Trip Podcast, man, that was pretty dope, man.
We've done some crazy shit on this podcast. The Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast is we're trendsetters, we're groundbreakers. We basically do whatever the fuck we want on this show. So, but anyway, I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you taking some time out and chopping it up with me and shit and reliving the fucking torturous event that was 2013 Nationals.
It's all love, brother, man, and I really appreciate you having me on, man, for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, sir. I appreciate you.
Definitely. Same here, my man.
All right. If you guys haven't yet, check out Hard Body Bullies. Errol Bodden, my dude, colleague, friend, peer. That Nationals that we were talking about 2013 was a rough motherfucker for me, man. I'm sure it was a great day for Errol. Well-deserved day for Errol. If you guys heard what sounded to be someone running a chainsaw in the background, it's not a chainsaw. There's nobody trying to murder me with a small Briggs & Stratton motor of some sort. That's just my shorty bull snoring. Because it's 2 a.m. and we're still doing podcasts, bitch. Episode 58 of the Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast is in the books. Errol Bodden. Basically, if you guys know where to find me. Upcoming events: World Cup September 9th, Australia September 10th, Nationals November 11th. Official Nationals commercial coming very soon by yours truly. I like how yours truly actually lined up with the outro, yours truly, in the background. Social media, Bull-NA-ChinaShop.com, Facebook, Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast on Instagram, Bull-NA-ChinaShop.com if you want to find all that shit in one spot. Also, if you haven't yet, subscribe to youtube.com/Bull-NA-ChinaShop TV. I love your fucking faces, people. I appreciate the support. This month, we are going to hit 15,000 downloads for the first time ever. This will be a record-breaking month, and it's all because of you motherfuckers. I love your faces. I'll see you bitches on Saturday. Sweet Life Saturday coming Saturday morning. Tune in.